All right, so we're gonna start working on this volume here for the first question. So it asks, what is the volume of the cylinder? Let's write down the volume equation for a cylinder, which is volume equals pi, radius squared, height. And the radius for this is the diameter divided by 2, and the radius is going to equal 0.875 inches. So this is a piece of information we're going to need for this one and the next one, and I got that by dividing the diameter by 2. And the diameter, as you can see, is right up there. Okay, so in this equation, if we write it out, volume equals 3.14 times 0.875 squared times inches, and then times 5.25 inches. Okay. So I'm going to square this value. Then I'm going to multiply it by pi. And then I'm going to multiply it again by 5.25. I'm going to hit equals. And that gives me about 12.62 inches cubed. Okay, so that is number 1. Where's my button? Here we go. Moving on, what is the surface area of the cylinder? So the formula for surface area of a cylinder, surface area equals, what do I got here? 2 pi r. And remember from the last one, we know that r is 0.875 inches. 2 pi r h plus 2 pi r squared. Surface area equals 2 pi times 0.875 times 5.25, put that in parentheses, plus 2 pi times 0.875 squared, parentheses. Okay, that's a big equation, but we can type it all in the calculator if we are careful. So I'm going to start with my parentheses, and I'm going to say 2 times 3.14 times 0.875 times 5.25, close parentheses, plus sign, open parentheses, 2 times 3.14 times 0.875 squared, close parentheses, equals, and we get a surface area that equals 33.66. And that would be in blah, 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 blah. What are we doing? Inches? Inches squared. Moving on. What is the weight of the cylinder? Okay, so we have the density weight. So weight equals density weight times volume. So weight equals density weight of 0.259 pounds per inches cubed times Gotta go back to quick. What did we say our volume was? 12.62. Okay, and that gives us a weight of 3.29 pounds. That's an LB, pounds. So 3.29. Moving on. If 1 quart of cleaning solution will clean 7,200 surface inches or square inches of the surface, how many quarts will be required to clean 1,500 cylinders? Okay. So first let's divide the 1 quart number by the surface area of 1 cylinder. So 1 cylinder we said was 33.66 inches squared. So 1 quart covers, so what does 1 quart cover? How many cylinders? 7,200 divided by 33.66 covers 213.9 cylinders. So how many quarts would we need to cover the whole thing? Well, we'd take, to cover 1,500 cylinders, divided by 213.9 cylinders is going to equal something. So 1,500 divided by 213.9 equals 7.01, etc. Quarts. So we need 7.01 quarts, but since you cannot buy 0.1 quart, we need 8 quarts, and that would be our answer because we went over 7, so we're going to need 8 quarts. And finally, for this one, what will the total cost be to ship 200 cylinders at $4.25 a pound? So that's very straightforward. 200 cylinders times, what do we say for weight? 3.29. So the calculator told me 3.29 pounds times $4.25. Multiply all these things together. 200 times 3.29 times 425 gives a cost of $2,796.5. All right, so that is all the calculations for the first one. All right, so let's move on to number 2 here. And the first question it's asking is about this wood board. What is the volume of the board? So a volume for a rectangular object like this, a rectangular prism, would be width times depth times height. So volume in this case is going to be 3.5 inches times 17 inches times 1.5 inches. And if I plop that all into the calculator here, 17 times 3.5 times 1.5, I'm going to get a volume of 89.6 89.25 inches cubed. So that is my volume. This is like, the rectangle is my least favorite surface area formula, because it is 2 times the width times the depth plus the width times the height plus the depth times the height. And that's just a really big formula. So for this, that would equal 2 times, and then sub parentheses, 1.5 times 3.5 plus 1.5 times 17 plus 3.5 times 17, close parentheses. So that is how you would set that one up. Oh, and I wasn't even on the slide. But here you go. Here's all that information that I just talked about. And then we just have to place that into our calculator. So 2 parentheses, other parentheses, 1.5 times 3.5, close parentheses, plus open parentheses. Oof, did I not put the 2 at the beginning? Well, we'll get it at the end. 1.5 times 17, close parentheses, plus 3.5 times 17, close parentheses again. And then I'm going to hit equals, and then obviously I need to add the 2 in there, which I forgot to add 2. So we get an answer. We plug all of this into the calculator of 180.5 inches squared. Okay. All right, here we go. What is the weight of the board? So weight equals density weight times volume. Weight equals density weight of 0.021 pounds per inches cubed times 89.25. 89.25 inches cubed. And let's put this in the calculator. So 0.021 times 89.25 inches cubed, and we get a weight of 1.87 pounds, and that is pounds. All right, moving right along. If 1 gallon of paint will cover 57,600 square inches, how many of gallons of paint would be needed to give 2 coats? So we got to do like a couple things here. First, we're going to look at 1 gallon. So how many boards does 1 gallon cover? So this is 1 gallon. So I'm going to say 1G equals this, divided by surface area for 1 board, which was 180.5. Put that in the calculator. 57, please work. 600 divided by 180.5. And I get 1 gallon covers 319.11 boards per gallon. And then I need to take this and divide it by 25,000. So 25,000 divided by 319.11 divided by 319.11 equals 78.34 gallons for one coat, and I need 2 coats, so I have to multiply that by 2, so times 2, and I get 156.68 gallons for 2 coats. So I can have a remainder if I need to cover them all. So this becomes 157 gallons as my answer. So that is your answer, 157. Because you can't buy 0.68 gallons of paint. Okay. Next question. What will the cost be to ship 25,000 boards to the facility at $425 a pound? Okay, so 25,000 boards times a weight of 1.87 pounds. That is pounds, not 1.816. And then times this board. Blah 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 blah. $4.25. Okay, so let's put that all in the calculator. 25,000 times 1.87 board or pounds times $4.25 a pound is 198,687.50. That's a lot of money. All right. So that is everything you need for number 2. And then number 3, this is the hardest question on here. So it says a jar made of 3/16 inch thick glass has an inside radius of 3 inches and a total height of 6 inches. So what is the glass density? So the first thing I got to do is I'm going to figure out the volume of like the glass cylinder as a whole, and then the volume of the area that's cut out of it, and subtract them to get the volume of the glass. Okay, so the volume of the whole, or at least the formula for it, is volume equals pi r squared h. Okay, so that's pretty easy. So the volume is going to be pi times, and I'm going to have to do a little parentheses, we've got an inside radius of 3, and then we got to add a little bit to that. So we got to add 3/16 to that. So 3 divided by 16 is 0.1875. So we've got 3.1875 squared times the height, which is 6 inches. So this is the volume of the whole thing. So I'm going to punch that in. Plus 3. And this needs to be squared. Then times 3.14 and times 6. So I'm getting 191.41 as total volume. So that's like this part of the cylinder if it was solid. Now 3/16 in, we've got a void, and we have to calculate the area of the void. So the volume of the void is the same thing, pi, times, this time just 3 inches squared, and then we've got to subtract 1.875 from 6. So 6 minus 0.1875 equals 5.8125. And we'll get an answer there. So that times 3 squared times 3.14 is going to get us 164.26, and that is volume of void. I'm going to subtract these two values, so 191.41 minus 164.26. I'm going to get an answer of 27.15 inches cubed. That is my volume of the glass. All right, and let's move on to the last question. So the last question is, what is the weight of the jar in pounds? So we've got one problem here because we know how to get the weight. The weight equals the density weight times the volume. The problem we have, all right, so the one problem we have here is our density weight is in feet cubed. And we've got to convert that to inches cubed. So for every 1 foot cubed, that is equal to how many inches cubed? And basically we have to just change the inches cubed into feet, which, you know, how many inches are in a feet? 12. So 12 cubed will give us our conversion factor here. So if we're looking at this on the calculator, 12 times 12 times 12 is going to mean 1,728 inches cubed is equal to 1 foot cubed. So we have to divide this number by this number. So to figure out what our density is here in pounds inches cubed, we're going to do 165 by 1728. So 125 divided by, or 165 I should say, 165 divided by 1728 is going to give us a density weight of 0.0954, etc. Pounds per inches cubed, which can now be dropped right in here and multiplied by whatever we got over here, which was the volume of 27.15 inches cubed times 27.15 inches cubed. So let's multiply that. Multiply 27.15, hit enter, and we get a weight of 0.259, 2.59 pounds. So that is your answer there, and I hope that was helpful. Good luck, and let me know if you have questions.